Hi, good afternoon. My name is Anna Padron Sikora, and I am a licensed clinical social worker. I'm also a mom. I'm a mom of two boys, ages 9 and 12. And so I wanted to make this video to really talk about how to address anxiety in our children. As caregivers, it is our job to help regulate our children's anxiety, and we don't always understand it, or it doesn't always look like anxiety, right? So we know that in children, anxiety could look like irritability or defiant behavior. It could look like sadness. And so our job as the adults in their lives is to really go down to the root of what are they really worried about? What is it that they've heard that they are not able to process? We know that there's a lot of information going around and that we are not their only influence. We know that even at a very young age, children are listening to news, listening to their friends or other family members. They're listening to different things on YouTube or on social media. And so they don't always have the words to ask the questions. And so as adults, we have to really be the ones doing the investigating. So we want to take this time to look at some tips and some reminders that we are the experts on our kids, right? We know if we have very sensitive children, or if there was some anxiety in our kiddos before the coronavirus started. So we want to pay attention to that because we know our children better than anybody else. And how do we support each other as caregivers in a time that is pretty unpredictable, right? So we want to start off by asking our kids what they've heard. What do they know about the coronavirus? What are they worried about? And also being very conscientious of their developmental stage, right? So the conversation with a preschooler is going to look different than with a school-age child, than with our adolescents. So we want to get to their level and understand what their concerns are. So in order to do that, we also have to provide a space, meaning that when they do feel safe enough to share their concerns, that we are not being judgmental or trying to fix their feelings, which is, as a parent, what we want to do, right? We want to make the pain and the anxiety go away. But this is not a time where we have a lot of control of the anxiety that's going on in the world. So we only have control, again, what we could do within our own households. And so asking our kids to really think about what would make them feel safer, what would they like to do together to take advantage of this time that we're home together. So for some kiddos, they're adjusting to new schedules and new routines, but then there might be some things that need to stay the same, like the same getting up at the same time every day and getting dressed for the day, having our meals or our daily exercise, whatever that looks like every day, that will continue to be a source of routine and safety for them. We want to talk about how their school time is really important, but then also that in this new schedule, there needs to be time where they're going to be working on their own, and there's going to be time when there's being together with the family. And so again, laying all of those things out as we're going into week 3 of shelter in place. We also want to talk about how to normalize that with everything that's going on, that their feelings are valid and that we're all in this together, right? And so that we are trying to figure it out, and sometimes we have the answers as parents and sometimes we don't, but that we need to continue to have open communication and have the conversation that if that if we say something as parents and it doesn't sit well with them, that they have permission to come back and say, I didn't like when you said this, or I didn't understand when you said this, and can we do a do-over? So giving each other a lot of grace and patience is going to take us a long way. We know that there's some things that kids love doing with their parents. They love, again, depending on their developmental age, coloring or reading together or playing catch outside. And so that building that into our everyday routine is also going to bring some comfort to them. As we continue to navigate the new world that we're in, we get to create our own narrative, right? And so 30 years from now, as adults, we will have certain memories of what this time looked like. We're going to be talking about maybe the shortage of supplies at the stores, or the healthcare workers. For our kids, as they grow up, what we want to create is a narrative of a time where their family was together, their family was safe, and that they got to eat together. And maybe this is not something that normally happened when we were all working and going to school and in activities. And so we want them to have a narrative that is very calm and brings them some happiness, even in a time of a lot of unknowns. So I think that to keep in mind that this is temporary, but that when we come to the other side of this, that we will be creating different memories and different opportunities. You got this. You got this as parents. You got this as providers. You got this as caregivers. So stay tuned.